She's amazing. Put your hands together for Miss Karen Foreman.
Fade in. Interior. The Improv Lab, a comedy joint. Night. West Hollywood. A part of Los Angeles where people bend gender and sexual roles. A place where queer is the word of the day, and the word of the day is the same word every day. A place where one man's hole is another man's treasure. A place where a fellow won't get spooked or slugged if he's soppy, hotsy-totsy, or digging the jive with another wolf. A place where all the members of the Bobby Sox Brigade have giggle sticks. And those skin flutes will meet at the end of the night in an intimate manner, and what of it? A place where it's swell for a fella to touch another man's bald-headed bastard. Where two one-eyed rattlesnakes will meet at the end of the night in an intimate manner, and again, what of it? Everyone's on the beam about it. Want to show your jing-jang and see another man's bobby dangler, and maybe a third fella's touch of the Duke will join in on the party, and everyone's keister's a bit sore in the morning? Well, see, around West Hollywood, that's copacetic. The year 1945. The war is ending, or it's already ended, or it's almost over, and we all just don't know it yet. Karen Foreman's on stage. She's one of those dark-haired East Coast transplants with not quite as many curves as the Santa Monica Freeway, but that's all right. If you weren't naturally an hourglass shape, the designs of the time were there to help you achieve that look. Karen engages in some light chit-chat with the audience. Heidi-ho. What's buzzing, cousin? Aren't you a little dilly little lamb? Are you rationed? Well, you look real khaki-wacky. That's all right, you're young. Just don't go fishing with a slap-happy swigger and become a sharecrop. When Karen's not speaking directly to the audience, it appears as though she's lost in thought for extended periods of time. And she is. You see, Karen's at the tail end of another kind of war. The kind of war where the fella you thought was your steady makes off with a ducky shin cracker. She caught him on the Amici, overheard him from the parlor. She wasn't wearing any stompers, so he didn't know she was there. After he got off the horn, she tried getting in a rhubarb with him about it, but he ran out of gas. Packed up his unmentionables and hit the silks. Trying to get a man to listen is like trying to get a cow to milk itself. Neither is so much a matter of anatomy as it is of desire. Anyone here ever gone on a date with an anchor clanker, a squiddy, a swabby? Oh, going out with a man in uniform is like taking a dive in the deep, dark blue ocean with a compass. You'll probably be eaten by sharks, but at least you'll know what direction you're facing. Karen's former fellow was, well, you guessed it, a seaman. He came round the next day. She told him to take a powder and get his rusty dusty out of her sight. He snapped his cap, started gabbing all kinds of floy and gobbledygook, but she wouldn't have it. His face was like a bucket of mud. Difficult to find out what's underneath, and afterwards you always felt dirty for looking. After he left, she went into a decline, and she even started praying for a time, but she didn't like it. Praying bagged in nylons, and she had just bought them at the Sears and Roebuck. Anyone here play the gobble pipe? I once blew into a gobble pipe so hard I nearly lost my lungs. Karen's non sequiturs are evidence of her current unstable mental condition. The whole affair was a big blow. Really big. Bigger than a gestating beluga whale. Was she trapped inside? It was so dark. As Karen continues on, her recent history colors her tone in an edgy, short-temper fashion. Hey, sister, would you ever go on a date with a chrome dome? Well, would ya? Karen's curious about people, but she doesn't always want answers to her questions. Answers lead to the truth, and the truth often leads to pain and consequences. Hey, mister. Have your lips ever met a licorice stick? I bet if you put a licorice stick between those chompers of yours, you'd make some beautiful sounds. Karen was like a short drink with a tall straw. Easy for a quick finish, but doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Thumbing rides may save you on bus fare, ladies, but it's dangerous. I once traveled by pogo stick. Karen doesn't always tell the truth. Did you hear about Joan Crawford? Every time she gets remarried, she changes the name of her Brentwood estate, and she installs all new toilet seats. I mean, jeepers! Karen knows there's a metaphor for that somewhere, but coming up with a metaphor for everything you talk about is like stabbing yourself in the eye over and over. It doesn't feel good, and you'll probably never be able to see again, but there's a certain satisfaction that comes with expressing that level of rage. Does anyone have change for a dime? I need a refill. An empty liquor glass is like a city with no cab drivers. Where would we go? How would we get there? And how would we know what to pay? Karen does not need any more alcohol. Before I go steady with another fella, I'm going to be prepared. I'm looking to hire a private eye to help me. Get me a rundown on the fella before things get too serious. A gumshoe. A good solid dick to have my back. Karen likes to bookend her set with dick jokes. They're universal and timeless. But excuse me, ma'am. I don't want just any dick, any old dick. Are you okay, sister? I want a hard boy. I don't want my dick getting in any sticky situations, and there's a lot of that happening with Hollywood. I put an ad in the Times, and now I've got a whole dossier of dick pics to go through. I didn't know the city was so full of dicks, Christopher Columbus. I'm drowning in dicks, I'm telling you. Some of them are keeping me up at night. My mother doesn't approve. She says I'm wasting my money, but she doesn't understand. I'm not just interested in the pictures. I'm interested in the articles. I mean, the actual articles. How many fans or butts does he use when he's flapping his gums? I don't want anyone beating around my bush. Just get down to the business and be done with it. I don't want to have to coddle you and tell you you're the biggest dick this city's ever seen. In a sea of dicks, I want the dick that rises to the top. The cream of the crop dick. The dick that in a long line of dicks is the first dick picked. I know Freddie Lockhart is a dick, but are there any other dicks in the audience tonight? What about you, sir? You look like a big dick about town. Should talk to me after the show. In a moment, Karen will leave the stage, and hopefully there'll be some clapping, perhaps an occasional woohoo from a more vocal member of the audience. Karen won't know what that means because it's 1945 and that word isn't used yet, but she'll pick up on the nonverbal cues and feel a lot of gratitude. Fade out. You guys have been a humdinger of a crowd. This has been just so swell. It's really been a gas. Thank you.
Keep it going for Karen Foreman. Well, she's just swell. I love her.